listeners, Harika here, and I'm super excited to welcome you to UppTalk. If you're ready to learn and get your hands work wonders in the world of information technology, then you're in the right place. When I say UppTalk, we are not just another edtech company. Consider we are your learning partner committed to unlocking your full potential. Whether you're stepping into the world of technology for the first time or looking to advance your career, we provide top-tier, hands-on courses to build up your career. Let's take our first step towards learning here and explore it.
Great. We'll cover a couple of more activities for the rest of the time, and then we'll wind up the session. I believe that far it's been clear with how we export the data and how we import the data. And let me just create a different workflow. Apart from this, we have covered the major activities. We can also talk about SQL. This is also really useful an activity that we do, especially for segmentation. In case, if you would like to learn about how SQL works, and all of them, there are like online resources that we have like W3 schools and all of them. That kind of a website is something that we can use it to learn the SQL query. But here in the Marketing Cloud, how SQL does work is that we will be able to segment only with the data that we have in the Marketing Cloud. Suppose, let's imagine that we have all the customers in the Marketing Cloud. Like I have all the customers from all the countries, and I need to do a little bit of segmentation, like a filter, like a country is called India. I can simply do it with a SQL activity. And in a little bit more advanced way, I have the data in multiple data extension. I need a first name in one data extension and one email address. I have email address in a different data extension. I want phone number. A phone number is in different data extension. I can combine all of this data extension and then I can also do the segmentation. But the SQL activity in Automation Studio can access only the data that we have in the Marketing Cloud. It cannot access the external databases. It doesn't work like MySQL. We can use multiple external databases and then we can do a segmentation. It doesn't work in that way. We do the segmentation only with the data that we have in the Marketing Cloud. I keep it in like straightforward because there's a slight confusion that I think that we can also use this SQL activity for bringing the data and combining and segmenting from extra sources. It's not possible in marketing. We use it only with the data that we have. Now let's create a new SQL activity. Let's give it a name. Or just give some name here. Wherever that you would like to store your query. Now I'm just keeping the general location. I'll go to the next step. Here, this is a place where we write the query and then we validate it. Suppose let's imagine, and this is a data extension where I have all the data. This is my data extension. This is my data extension where I have all the data. Let's do one thing. I'll combine two data extensions just for use cases. And let's see how we can add two of this data extension. Now there are two data extensions called Genpact at the rate of 14 for Gregory And there's also one more data extension called purchased customer. Now let's imagine this is an interested customer and this is a purchased customer. Now your management is asking you to send out the email only to the customer who has purchased. In this data extension, you don't have an email address, but in this data extension, you have. If I open this and see a subscriber key first time, last time, email address. If I open my purchase data extension, I don't have the email address. Now your management is asking Kumar, can you please send the email to all the purchased customers? I don't have an email address. I cannot use this data extension. That's why we do the SQL activity here. Now, first thing, we always start with the SQL. Again, I would recommend to go through the basic SQL session that we have. There is also session is trying that for SQL. It's really useful. In case you have not gone through, I would just recommend this. And it also has like a basic code like for the left join, inner join, full outer join. There are multiple use cases that we have. Left outer join with the condition. We have plenty of examples here. I just put them in a chat box. If you'd like to learn more, you can do a SQL part. I just put them. Apart from this, I also recommend this website called UT Schools. That's a very basic website that we use it to learn. Here we have plenty of use cases here. Then we have use cases. It's called UT Schools. This is something that we can also use for learning purpose. Now we usually have three major functions that we write in SQL. Select, and the final function we use is a where. Select and then the select function. We have to include all the fields that you would like to keep in a targeted extension. Another challenge with the SQL activity. I need to create a data extension separately. This targeted extension is whatever the query and segmentation that I do here. This segmentation is going to be stored in a target extension. I think here I have made a data extension. I don't have them here. Basically the result, whatever the segmentation that we're creating. If we create a segment for us, if you give us a result, where do I need to save this result? That is going to be a target extension. Before we start writing a query, in case if you would like to store this result in a separated extension, create a data extension before, and then you can start reading all of this. SQL activity. Now let's pick up whichever the field that you would like, that you want to use it from two of this data extension that you're combining. I need the subscriber key of OCS. I need the first name. I want email address. I want the mobile number. I want the date of birth. It depends on what is the type of campaign that you're trying to achieve. Whichever the field that is required for you, you can pick up them. If you don't need the data of birth, you can just leave them. And then whatever the fields that you want from this data extension, probably like purchase value, like a purchase frequency. Now we just combine both the fields and storing them in a target extension. We just combine two of them. Now we will also have to give earlier's name. I'll come to that part. We don't need this comma for the last field that we picked up. We don't need the comma. And now, where are we taking all of this data from? We are taking the data from the first data extension that we're using. Is this data extension? This has to be the name of a data extension. This is the name of a data extension. We have to be a little bit careful here. We cannot make any mistakes like in the name of data extension. Now I'm going to give this data extension alias name. I'm going to say like this presents my table A. I'm just giving alias name. From this data extension, what I will feel that we are taking subscriber key is coming from a table A. I'm going to say like a table A here. And its name is coming from table A. Also, email address, mobile number, purchase value, and purchase frequency is going to come from another table. We can name it as a DB. We're just giving alias name for both the data extension. Now I'm taking this data extension and giving alias name as a key. Now let's do the inner join. Let's join two of the data extension. This is an interested customer and this is a purchased customer. I'm going to do an inner join with the data extension called purchase customer. Now I'm going to give alias name as a B. Now, in order to join two of the data extension, it should have a unique value between the two of the data extension. The only matching field which I can see, I have a subscriber key in all of them. This I can see to subscriber key. Now the matching field between two of the data extension is a subscriber key. It varies for each and every segmentation that you do. It also depends on what is the kind of structure that you have. It may be a subscriber key, it may be a contact key, it may be a phone number, it may be email address. Whichever the unique value that you have between two of the data extension. Now, in my case, I have the subscriber key. Now I'm going to map two of this field. Now in the join purchase, customer B is alias name on as subscriber key. I'm just picking up. The same as subscriber key equal to BB is like this data extension B subscriber key. I just need the join of this data extension using a field called subscriber key. Now in case if I'm adding more data extension, if I'm combining more data extension, I can just simply create another inner join. Then I can see I can keep on combining multiple data extensions here. The need is this unique field between two of the data extension that I'm adding. Now this is how we do inner join. Now where is very simple. Suppose if you would like to add a condition like suppose the code equal to inion. Here we can also mention where are we link this filter. This is coming from a table A. We have to see from a table A, we are taking this condition. Now, this will be the target data extension. We need to also make sure we have all of these fields. And then we put this wave condition. And then, based on this wave condition, the target audience will be saved in the data extension that we picked up. This is how we integrate this SQL query in the marketing. It's again up to you. If you would like to put the condition, you can put it, or else you can also leave it. For example, if you would like to add more condition, like you can say, and then you would like to segment the customer who are from like a country which is equal to India and value. Purchase value greater than or equal to, probably you can say 500. And this is coming from a table B. You have to give a name also here. V dot purchase value greater than or equal to 500. Based on this segmentation that we have created, if you click validate, it's saying no, there's some error invalid. I don't need to probably put them in the code. Let's give it a try in a single code. And now it's validating. If there are any validation error, we can just check them here and then we'll be able to fix it here itself. That's kind of freedom that we have. That's the kind of capability that we have here in SQL. But the challenge is we can use the data only that we have in a single source model. We cannot put the external databases. That's not possible. Any questions here in the SQL query on the segmentation panel? Do you come across any performance issue? Not exactly. Like performance issues in this sense. Can you please give me some examples? When you run a combining multiple data actions and we are running the query, sometimes we are using the group by or something. Do you come across any performance issue? How did you start out? The performance issues. Like in that case, there are some SQL queries which may take some time to run it. That's only a case, and apart from that, there's no any performance issue. If it's starting, if I'm like probably running now, it may take some like 2 minutes to start the SQL and may take some to another 2 minutes to complete. But apart from that, there is no any performance issue like in a single SQL. Thank you. Great. And then we write the query and we put this. I don't see the next option. And I think I need to refresh the screen. Sometimes cloud is weird. That's it. In the next steps, we just have to pick up the next step, we just have to pick up the target extension where the result needs to be stored. And then we can run the automation. I put the SQL query here. It's fine. And here I just have to pick up the data extension where it needs to be stored. I just something to pick up randomly here. In performance wise, when we keep the overwrite option, suppose overwrite will slow down the entire system because it deletes the existing records. Suppose if there are some organizations which will do a lot of segmentations which will be keep on running on a regular basis like everyone last. That means if I keep too many override functionalities, like if I run multiple SQL activities with an override operation, then my entire system is going to slow down. because if I have 100 override SQL activity which is running every hour, every 1 hour. First, what will happen is if we complete all the existing automation and then the rest of the automation will be keep on queued. That means it's going to take a lot of time to complete the entire SQL query. That's also another performance issue that we have with the marketing flow, only with the override operations. If I have a UPN, they're just going to add the new records into data extension. Omping really doesn't really assess performance issue. But if I have too many override, too many more than 100, more than 200, if it's running at every 1 hour, then it's going to be a different performance issue. This is going to be targeted extension, where there is a set of this query is going to be stored. If I choose, say next and then summary, here I just have to say finish. Now it's doing an error because I don't have all of these fields in the data extension that I have picked up. The data extension I have picked up, or a tab data extension, it should have the subscriber key. It should have the first name, email address, mobile number, purchase value, or purchase frequency. It's doing an error because this data extension does not have the specified fields in the query. That's the reason it's doing an error. Perfect. And then this is how we set up this SQL query. And then once we do this SQL query, and if you like to probably send an email before, whenever we do this import, it will have all the raw data. Then you can do the SQL query for segmenting, and then you can also trigger. This is a kind of workflow that we use it in the automation to do the segmentation. It's really, really helpful. Trust me, when basically you have to do the segmentation for campaign execution. We use this SQL query and apart from the campaign execution, we also use SQL query for multiple use cases. Example data code through the data views. I think this article, which I have already shared with you in the previous session, you can definitely make use of these data views. Suppose if you'd like to know how many things that you have, how many opens that you have, you can use the data views. You can use this object. You can use this query table that we have in the server. In this query table, we have all of this in subcount ID, Java ID, and all of them. And in case if you would like to access these fields, we can definitely do that. We can access all of this. There's also an example query that we have. Suppose if you like to find all the customer who has opened my email for the past 30 days. And here's a query, an example query that we have, and we also have to create this targeted extension. You can just probably use this data article to feed your own data extension. And then you can just copy paste this entire SQL activity. Here it will also say replace email ID on line 16 with a specific email ID. Email ID is nothing, but suppose if you like to check the last open date, like for the customers who have opened your email for this particular email ID. Email ID, you know it. It's the external key of your email. Each and every email has an external key. You just put the email ID here. Then you will be able to fetch that account who has opened this email for the past 30 days. Here, if you look at this, we are just using this underscore job. You know what? All the objects that we have here. You can just take a reference. Here is a data view called job. This is an object that we are using there. And we are combining with a send table. We are combining this with a job table with an open table. And then we also combine it with a subscriber table to match all the subscribers to see like how many of them open and how many of them clicked and all of them. That's something we can also include this click table, and then we can make a simple data. And we use a query for multiple purpose, not only for segmenting before we send out the email. We use a query activity like multiple use cases like for accessing the data views and pulling the analytics information. And whenever we get the data from a third-party system, it will have all the raw data. It will not be segmented properly. And we say it uses SQL Query data again for segmentation. Multiple use cases. I can think of many use cases, but these are the very common activities. I mean major use cases for SQL query. This is something called filter. Before we set up this filter, let me probably come up with a use case. Let's say you have a top-level business unit. Under this, you have multiple countries like France, India, Germany, and all of them. Under a top-level business unit, you will have all the data. You will have the data in a top-level business unit for all the countries like India, France, Germany, all the countries like you will have the data. From a top-level business unit, I need to segment the customer for my business. Like if I go to India business and I should see the customers only enrolled for India. Same it goes for France and Germany. And how do I do this filter? I can do this with the segmentation SQL activity, but it's something like if someone joins the Marketing Cloud team, I mean, if they are not really having a background experience in Marketing Cloud and they still want to do the segmentation. And we use the filter activity. Now, what is the kind of workflow that I'm going to create is, I'm going to create a filter. I'm going to segment the customer. And from this segmentation, I'm going to share with this particular business unit. If I go to India business unit, I should see the data only for India. I'm just basically segmenting the customers for each and every business. Let's see how we can do that. Before we come here, we have to come to Email Studio. In the Email Studio under Subscribers, we have a data for this. Now let me create the filter for India. I think I might have created the data filter, just that you know. We are going to be using a data extension. Now let's imagine we are in a top-level business unit. Let's imagine it's a top-level business unit. Now, here when you click on Create, you will have the entire master data in a data extension. It will not be in the profile attribute. It will be always in the data extension. We have to pick up data extension. Now, whichever the master data extension you have to pick up that. Let me pick up the same data extension which we have used before. Let's imagine this is a master data. And here I can just directly apply filter. The country code is equal to NN. And I save this filter like an AN. Save this in the main folder. My filter is ready. If I have to do the segmentation for multiple countries, I need to create a filter annually. If I have to do the segmentation for 60 countries, I have to manually create 60 data filters. Same way, if I have to do it for 100, I have to do it 80 per 100 data filters. Now let's use this filter in the automation straight away. Let's use this filter activity. And here we've got the new filter activity. And here I'll give it a name, India filter, something like that. This one. And here I saved it in the main folder. There are many filter activities being created. The one which I created is an IN underscore filter. I have created a name here. It's going to be saving in this location. Click on Next. And here I just have to give the name of a data extension. When I run this filter activity, it's going to create a data extension. The result is going to be stored in a separate data extension. What needs to be that data extension name? For example, India customers underscore S1. And what needs to be the external key? You can give it, or the system will automatically create it. And what needs to be the description of this data extension? Now just click on Next. Finish. Now if I save this and run all activities and run. And now what happens is this filter will run. It will create a data extension. If I go back to my data extension where I have selected, now I can see it has created a data extension. It has 2 records. That means I think it should have been completed. It's completed. It has now created a data extension with 2 records based on the filter that I have applied. I can also see the country code is equal to N, the good records. I see the matching records for me here. I end. Now what I do is I create a separate folder in a shared data extension. Here we have a shaded extension. Under the shaded extension, I can create multiple folders. For example, if I click here, I can create a new folder like in here. Now I created one folder. What I do, I pick up this data extension. I move it to my shaded extension. Now I need to give permission only to my India business unit. If any of the Marketing Cloud users log into their India business unit, they should see only this data extension. They should not see this folder called Privy. What I do is I click on Permission. It will ask you for all the business units that you have already. You will have a business unit already like India, France, Germany, all of them. Let's imagine like this is your India business unit and click on Edit. And it will just give all of this option to view, move, delete, rename subfolder and click on Save. Rest of the business like SendPy and SendPy trainers will not be able to access your business. Will not be able to access this folder at all. They won't be able to see it at all. This is how we create multiple folders like India, France, all of them, and then whenever they have to send out the email, they just use the data extension for sending out the email. We don't need to give access to the entire master data. By doing this, we are keeping the data very secure. We are not giving the access for them to. We are not giving them access to our control, the main data extension. There's a high probability that some of the marketing cloud experts may trigger an email to all the customers by mistake if we give access to master data. By using this on structure, we also send the data. Like we segment them only for their particular business and we keep it separate. This is how we use the filter activity in the automation. It's a simple, very simple and straightforward. And we have a file event. This is also pretty much straightforward. Let's imagine that we have a journey with our journey, which is running now all. This is something we are going to be covering in the next upcoming session. It really makes sense when we covered this topic also, but I'll quickly probably summarize. Suppose if you have used a data extension which is going to be entry source for your journey and we are sending an email. How do we activate this journey? This is a one-time journey for us. I'm still running on the line. I could activate this and what are the number of records that I have in the data extension? Let's say like 20 records. If I have like 40 records and click on. Now these 48 records will get the email from us. And I activate it. And now if a new customer coming to data extension, suppose a new record has been imported into this data extension. And they will not get the email unless we trigger them, like initiate them manually, because it's a one-time. The schedule will be sent to animals. When it's run, all the customers will get the email. And after that, if the new customer come into this data extension, they don't get the email. Now we are going to use the fire event here whichever the data extension I have picked up here. Data extension name called yield to subscale with underscore viewing. And now if I pick up this fire event and if I run this in an automated way, if I just click on run. And then this if a new record has been added here, like a 10 customers. If it's added, those 10 customers will get the email. We can control and we can fire an event with Journey Builder through an automation that is being used as an entry source. This is my entry source. This is my data extension. I fire an event to this data extension. If this data extension is being used in any of the journey, it will get an email to all the customers who has been added. This is how we also can control. We'll deep dive into this Journey Builder in the upcoming session. It's going to be like we'll be able to cover that much in advance. We'll be able to cover like much in deep when we come to a Journey Builder. One last activity that we have in automation which we have not used is a refresh group. We have already created multiple refresh groups in the Email Studio. Here on Deathly Day subscribers, we have a group. We have created groups in the very first session, in case if you would like to refresh them in a regular way. It does not have any groups. This is my different account. You can pick up the groups and click on. Then you give it a time, like a schedule, like every 30 minutes it needs to refresh or something. And then it will keep on refreshing. Every time, whatever the group that we pick up, it will keep on refreshing. Like every 1 hour based on the schedule. Yes, Interaction Studio and this publish audience. Refresh shipment template. And verify audience. This is something not part of this program because we don't also have a license for it. Interaction Studio and Advertising Studio, we don't have a license. Unfortunately, we won't be able to see any use cases for that. Rest of them, we have pretty much completed the entire Automation Studio, like the file location FTP and all the activities. Great. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@uptalk.com.